You're 40 minutes into a long drive. Motorway, cruise control, windows up because the air conditioning is finally winning. Three other people in the car, and you fart quietly, deliberately, with the practiced discipline of someone who has done this before. You wait. It reaches you, faintly, and it is. Fine. Almost interesting. You are not proud of that. 20 minutes later, someone in the back seat farts, and the inside of that car becomes uninhabitable. You are clawing at the window switch. You are briefly, genuinely angry. Same sealed box, same shared air, roughly the same chemistry, produced by roughly the same organ, in the same species, eating from the same service station. And your response to one is mild curiosity, and to the other is something close to rage. So why? The honest answer turns out to be nothing like the one everybody gives. Your own gas does smell to you. In a sealed car, you detect it easily, often before anyone else does, because you know precisely when to start sampling the air. Detection is not what changes. What collapses is not your ability to smell it, it's how much you mind. And that distinction drags the whole question out of your nose and into your brain. Because the real problem is no longer chemical sensitivity, it's this. Why does the same molecule get run through two completely different verdicts depending on who made it? The first layer is what the gas actually is. Almost all of it is odorless: nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and in roughly a third of people, methane. Together, that's well over 99% of the volume, and none of it smells of anything. In 1991, a British team led by Tomlin measured normal production in 10 healthy volunteers and found an average of about 700 milliliters a day, one man reaching nearly 1.5 liters, spread across roughly 8 to 20 separate events. The smell hides in what's left. Sulfur gases, chiefly hydrogen sulfide, methanethiol, and dimethyl sulfide, present at parts per billion. In 1998, Suarez, Springfield, and Levitt fed volunteers pinto beans, collected the gas directly, and had two judges rate the odor of diluted samples while a gas chromatograph measured what was in them. Hydrogen sulfide tracked the ratings most closely, so the offending substance is a rounding error inside a bag of nothing. And it's the same rounding error in everybody, which kills the easy explanation. Your gas isn't milder, so where does the asymmetry come from? The second layer is adaptation. Your olfactory receptors are change detectors, not meters. Hold a steady smell under your nose, and perceived intensity typically falls by around half within the first minute and can fade nearly to nothing within a few. And you have been marinating in your own personal odor signature continuously for your entire life. In 1976, Michael Russell had students wear a t-shirt for days, then sniff 3 shirts blind. Their own, a man's, a woman's. They picked out their own at rates well above chance. You carry a smell you cannot perceive because your baseline has already absorbed it. But a fart is a sudden spike far above that baseline. You do notice it. So adaptation alone can't be the answer. The third layer is prediction. Your brain does not treat sensations you cause the same way it treats sensations that happen to you. In the late 1990s, Sarah Jane Blakemore and colleagues at University College London studied why you can't tickle yourself and built a robot to test it. When the machine inserted a delay of about 0.2 of a second between your hand's movement and the touch on your palm, the sensation became measurably more ticklish. Break the prediction, restore the sensation. You knew your fart was coming. You knew its timing, its volume, its trajectory. Nothing about it was news, but dampened intensity still isn't disgust, and disgust is what's actually different, which brings the fourth layer, labeling. In 2005, Ivan de Araujo and Edmund Rolls gave people one single odorant while scanning their brains, and simply changed the word on the screen. Labeled cheddar cheese, people rated it pleasant. Labeled body odor, the identical molecule became unpleasant, and the pleasantness coding regions of the frontal cortex shifted accordingly. Rachel Hertz had found the same flip 4 years earlier using pairs like parmesan and vomit. The molecule is not the experience. The believed source is half the experience, and you always believe your own source is safe. But why should ownership matter to a nose at all? The fifth layer answers that. Disgust isn't refinement. It's a disease avoidance system, cheap, fast, and older than language. In 2004, Val Curtis and colleagues ran a survey through the BBC that drew over 40,000 responses from more than 100 countries, and the images rated most disgusting were consistently the ones carrying genuine infection cues. One item asked people how they'd feel about sharing a toothbrush, and the revulsion climbed steadily as the owner grew socially more distant. Mildest for a partner, worst for a stranger. That's the variable, not the chemical. The bacteria producing your sulfur gases are bacteria you are already carrying. There is no new pathogen in your own air. Someone else's fart is a sample of a microbial population you have never been exposed to. So here's the flip. You've been assuming your nose is doing you a kindness, sparing you, going easy on the person it belongs to. It isn't sparing you, it's withholding information. Those sulfur gases are a genuine readout of what your gut bacteria are doing with the sulfur in your food, and every single person in that car is receiving that readout at full strength except the one person it's actually about. You are the only human on earth who cannot audit your own gut. That's not an advantage. That's a blind spot with your name on it. And run it the other way. The revulsion you feel at a stranger's, the thing you experience as rudeness or squeamishness or a bad mood, is your immune system reaching out through your nose and flinching on your behalf milliseconds before you've thought anything at all. The smell you find unbearable is the one you're being defended against. The smell you find tolerable is the one you have no defense against because you are already fully colonized by it. The disgust isn't the danger, the comfort is, none of which should worry you. Hydrogen sulfide is genuinely toxic in industrial concentrations, but measured levels in flatus sit around or below 1 part per million. Harm begins in the tens of parts per million, and the whole thing disperses into room air within seconds. Farting somewhere between 8 and 20 times a day is ordinary, not a symptom. A stronger smell usually just means sulfur-rich food. Eggs, meat, garlic, brassicas, meeting a particular mix of gut bacteria. This isn't medical advice, and a persistent dramatic change in gut habits is worth a doctor's time. But the smell on its own is your microbiome doing its job out loud. So let's put the whole thing back together. 99% of what leaves you is odorless gas, and the smell rides on a few parts per billion of sulfur, which is roughly the same in everyone. So it can't be the chemistry. Your receptors have adapted to your personal signature over a lifetime, which lowers the floor but not the spike. Your brain predicted this particular spike, so it arrived attenuated, stripped of surprise, and the moment it arrived, your brain labeled it yours, and the labeling rewrote the verdict before you had a conscious thought, exactly as it rewrites cheddar into body odor and back. And it labeled it that way because disgust was never a judgment about molecules. It's a pathogen filter calibrated on social distance, and your own bacteria are already inside you, already tolerated, already too late to avoid. Which is why the same air is data when it's yours and a threat when it's theirs. Back to the car. Windows up, 3 hours to go, someone in the backseat about to ruin everything. Nothing in that air is really about manners. Two nervous systems are quietly running the same ancient risk calculation on the same molecules and reaching opposite answers, because one of them recognizes the source and one of them doesn't. Benjamin Franklin, writing to the Royal Academy of Brussels around 1781, proposed only half-jokingly that science should find a way to make the stuff smell pleasant, and complained that we studied the stars while ignoring a discomfort every human alive shares daily. Nearly 2.5 centuries later, we can name every gas in it, measure it to the part per billion, and watch the brain change its mind about it in real time. We still can't explain why yours smells like information and theirs smells like a warning. Roll the window down anyway. Next time you're 40 minutes into that drive with the windows up, remember you're the only person in the car flying blind. If this changed the way you think about something you do 20 times a day without noticing, hit subscribe. This channel takes ordinary, slightly undignified things and shows you the machinery underneath. Now settle something in the comments, in under 10 words. Whose is worse, a partner's, a sibling's, or a stranger's? Be honest, stay curious, stay downwind. I'll see you in the next one.